Alright, sorry for that, guys. Everyone, we are going to be going back into it. We did miss a little bit of the fight, but Valpo did win the previous fight. Going to be able to take a little bit more. Fusic going to be taking this ground, but Atlas and Moose trading spots. Going to be trying to take a little bit of a different vibe for it. Going to be trying to CQ9 going in the back, Wick going down in the back, and unfortunately Kirakuki and Fusic are the only ones left alive, but Kirakuki is going to be unable to really help Fusic get out of this. We're going to be taking this Rhine, but going to try and just be able to try and make as much distance as they can. They're not going to really be able to back. Valpo is going to have to try and touch fairly quickly, going to be able to. Kirakuki missing the way of touching, but going to have to touch instead. Going to be taking Fusic with Fusic going to be coming down as well, but Kirakuki is going to be the first one down. Atlas is going to be down. Fusic is also down. CQ9 and Wit are the only ones left alive. Going to be trying to keep things, but Wit just coming back. CQ9 also just regrouping in the back. But this is going to be a huge stagger with Wit going down. CQ9 is the only one left in the fight, but able to get out just on a whim, just on a bet. So this is going to be a huge stagger and allowing Wayne State to get a lot of progress going into this. Valpo's going to have to just try and focus up and try and get as much distance as they can.
Yep, gonna have 3 minutes they gotta hold here. Do have the Bastion all coming out from Wayne State, so we'll see what it's able to find. No one, luckily, for Valpo. But they got a good bit of time here, not a lot of distance to go, but this is going to be a tough part of the map to push.
But that is going to be a huge shatter on the side of Wayne State on Valpo. Atlas and CQ9 going down very quickly, and Valpo is already down 2 against 5, and this is going to be in an interesting place, going to be looking for as much as you can. Fusic not having an ult yet, and just going to be trying to sit here. Ult economy is not looking is looking a little bit in Valpo's favor, but not really. We are going to be seeing a Bob coming out though. Moose going down on the side of Valpo, or not Valpo, Wayne State, and Wayne State is probably going to have to back up here going down 2-5.
Yep, 2 minutes left here. Valpo able to make a hold just before they complete the push. Yeah, do have this D.Va getting close to the ultimate up here. And we'll see if he decides to use it for a remake or yoss it in there for an easy 5K.
Most likely going to be looking for a remake. That's essentially what our coach has been looking for specifically, especially with D.Va ults. But Atlas is going to go down in the back. Fusic is living on a lot of half health and going to be using these rays, trying to get stings. But that is going to be a Bob on the side of Wayne State, going to be thrown back and going to be looking for those early fights. Early kills in the back or early damage. Wick going down in back. Atlas going to be taking a lot of damage. Fusic going to be very low, going to be demacked, but going to use it as extra life, and that is going to be your best option. And Wayne State forced to back up yet again.
Did have Fusic picking up one with the D.Va bomb and able to remake. Minute 15 left here, and there's not much distance left to go, but Valpo is able to make a stand, still getting picks, and Wayne State gonna have to regroup for a fight here.
Wayne State able to get a little bit of a regroup, but unable to as their judo is going to go down fairly quickly. Going to be forced to back up, and their Ash is going down too. That is 2, and they're gonna have to wait another 10 seconds before being able to go in. This is going to be this dive comp is really working for Valpo, trying to get in, even against the Brawly Rush comp. But we are seeing a huge, interesting play from them, getting this blade down going through, but they are going to beat for it, going to take a lot of damage, going to be looking for the Lucio though, but just 2 wasted ults from the side of, 1 wasted ult from each side, going to be interesting, going to be just taking a lot of damage, looking for as much as you can. Going to be trying, but CQ9 going to go down, and there is a sim wall on play, so you can't let them do that. You're going to have to touch. Fusic going to be out of point, but Bob is going to be thrown on play. We are forced to kind of just sit here and wait. Wit is able to not, and that is, yep, and Wayne State takes that first point, full pushes.
0 to 3, switching sides.
So we are going to be going into this, going for our next one. Valpo is going to have to try and attack here. Going for this and going to have to full push if they want to hold. hold any sort of semblance of a chance, not hold chance, get on point. So going to be playing a more interesting game, and I'm very intrigued to see what Wayne State is going to try and use here. If they're going to try and go back with the poke that didn't end up working, or if they're going to try a drive or brawl. So we are going to be seeing a little bit of a change. We're seeing the swap to Orisa from Fusik. And we are seeing the same supports, CQ9 on the Juno, Kirakuki on the Brig, and we are also seeing Wit on the Ashe again and Atlas on May. So we are seeing still some normal same things that are happening, but the sim is actually ending up pretty decent, has been working pretty well for Wayne State, I'd say, doing a lot of work, but they are going to swap out the Brig on defense for an Ana, so going to be interested going into this right here, but we are going to be looking for it. We're going to be looking for a lot of... Oh, never mind, we're going D.Va again.
What do you think Valpo needs to change here to have more success on attack than they did on defense?
Not really sure what they're looking for. It's been hard to kind of notice what's specifically going wrong. The main thing right now, I feel like, is just not getting those early picks. Fusik going in a very interesting place, leaving his team in the backline. Not the worst decision, going to get those turrets down, but is that really worth being on your own and going to be turned on, especially with the sim, going to be taking a large amount of damage, and that is going to leave them. But Ashe is going down first, so paying off in the long term. Fusik going to have to back up though, going to be taking lots of damage, not going to be able to really help them on point. Sim is getting low, but so is the rest of your team. Fusik going to be sleeping in the backline only for a little bit though, but he is kind of in the middle of the action. Sim is cornering him hard, but he takes the Sim down first. So Juno going down as well. Valpo is going to be securing fairly decently going into this fight, going to be able to take as much as possible and just try and get as much regroup as possible and just be able to do what they can.
High risk, high reward play for Fusik there. I really like to see the flanks, so.
Flanks can be good. It's just risky to do it on tank because you are leaving your tank out in unable to be seen, and it's also really difficult. It's really easy to notice when the tank is not actually there. So going to be very risky indeed, but yet paying off, being able to get those early picks. So going to be just looking for any early picks yet again from the side of Valpo, looking for early picks on like one of the DPS preferably, but we are going to be looking at our ult economy going into this, but Blue Rock is going down on the cast, and we are going to be seeing a huge anti-whip going to be taken down to low health, but we are seeing the sim wall going down and the Ray coming out from the side of Valpo, but there is going to be a May freeze on the play too, taking down the sim first, negating the sim wall in almost its entirety.
Great shots there by Atlas and having that ultimate, the CQ9 and Wit dropping, so.
Fusik is getting very low. CQ9 also dropping like Speedy said, just going to be able to look for this, getting this remake though, going to be just gonna have to try and play safe, especially with only having a Brig. Tracer going to be taking a lot of damage, going to be a new swap off of the Ashe, and that is going to be able to do a lot, but they're not able to really do much. Getting that spray, but they're going to get their own Ray in. We are seeing a Bob on the play, but each team just trading as many ults as they can. The only thing they don't have is their own bomb. Going to be looking for it, and they're taking, and Wayne State is going to just decide to lose this fight.
Yep, Valpo looking much better on attack here. Have, I think, won every single fight. Have had a little bit of adversity with some picks. I think big thing in that fight was Fusik was able to stay in it with the remake and buy enough time for CQ9 for Wid to return to the fight, and they were able to get the team kill at the end of it.
Yep, able to get those fights in, going to be able to make a lot of distance going into it, and just going to be trying to look for as much as they can, trying to get a fair amount of damage, going to be barely almost getting that Juno, getting it out, but CQ9 able to take it out, but the the Pulse Bomb is going to be coming on the side of Wayne State, going to be doing a lot of damage, and D.Va going to be falling back onto point, but she does have her thing, and Fusic is going to be taking a lot of damage and forced to D-Mech, and Fusic isn't not going to have his mech back at all anytime soon, and Fusic is going to be taken down, with Valpo going for the Ray though, trying to keep it up, but it's not going to be not going to work enough, and Atlas is going to go down yet again. And that is going to put Valpo in only really with the D.Va bomb going into this, where Wayne State does have the freeze and gates. Ugh.
Yeah,
Not
unfortunately,
talking right.
Valpo did get staggered there, so Wit and Karakuki just respawned as well. But yeah, unfortunately, wasn't able to hold that Ray for the next fight.
Unfortunately, and Atlas
that's
going
not
down
good.
very early. This is not going to be looking good. Valpo going to have to back up. And Fusic taking the early backup. Just a good option here from Valpo.
Yeah, and this is going to cost them a lot of time, unfortunately. But Valpo finally has their whole team and will make their march towards the objective.
So going to be looking for this, going to be trying to find what you can, just going to be trying to, but we are going to see Wit taking this off angle, going to try and get as much thing, going to be using the jump pads a little bit to their advantage, going to try and take as much as they can, but Wit is going to fall down a fair amount of these, but we are still looking for this D.Va bomb. This D.Va bomb is going to be a second life, going to be very useful, but the gates is not able to get put off, but Atlas going down instead too. Going to be taking a lot, but Kirakuki is going down too. Valpo is down currently, down 2, I think it is. And going in, but there is going to be a bomb going to be placed from both teams. Going to be trying to, getting the gates out though too, so going to be taking a fair amount. Fusic able to take out, almost take out most of them. Using that as a real remech and get in that second life. Wit going down as well though, and everyone's going to be a little bit staggered, trying to get their way just to get back to each other. Atlas is going to be singled out very heavily right now, forced to use Blizzard to try and keep himself alive. Yet Fusic able to come back fairly quickly, going to be trying to taking down the Mei, and trying to look for this last kill on this D.Va is the main thing right now. So they are going to be retreating, going with both, with just the Juno and Fusic, D.Va going to be falling back for the side of Wayne State. Valpo's going to really need this early push though, going to have to not have to bank on trying to push it all the way and push it very quickly.
Yeah, Wayne State does get the touch in.
But that is a lot of ults with Wit going down, but trading DPS. There is Kiriko is going down for the side of Wayne State, going to take 2, so Valpo is up currently 1, but Tracer is going to live for quite a while, going to take down another, and the only one left is the D.Va, and D.Va should probably hold ult for this, just going to try and live instead of remeching, and that is going to be almost overtime for the side of Valpo. One lost fight there and they were done. So going into it, Atlas has his ult back, going to be going for a Blizzard, but that's really what we got here. Wayne State is looking a lot better in the ult economy right now with the support ult, but honestly, again, Valpo builds their support ults fairly quickly, so expecting to see another Ray fairly soon to use to help push in is going to be useful. Fusic is kind of trying to get this early remech, going to be able to, trying to counteract the opposing team's remech, which they definitely have. But Atlas is going to go down in the back line, going to be forced to back up, try and take an early loss just so they could regroup. Not going to be able to find a really soon pick, going to have to just look and try and keep themselves alive as much as possible. Fusic going in, trying to try and get this remech. Going to try and take as much as you can, but DM is almost running out. There is going to be a lot, but going to look for this Blizzard, going to get a fair amount of spacing out of it, separating out the team, going to be able to take just a fair amount of distance, going to make more and just keep it going. Unfortunately, Atlas is going to be kept a little bit, never mind, getting in there, but there's going to be a Ray and direct point, and Wit is going to go down to that bomb, going to try and keep as many people alive as possible, but Atlas is incredibly low. Fusic going to have to be able to do anything. Going to be taking down, going to get these, but there is going to be stuck on. Fusic does still have his bomb, so going to be able to take this, going to take down the... Oh! Taking down the Kiri with the bomb and also going to be able to get the remake, but this is Wayne State going to have their Blizzard, but not going to be able to do a lot. Tracer is the only one who can touch, and Tracer goes down, and Valpo is able to bring it just slightly. Going into this is going to be a minute to a minute and 5 seconds. So Valpo is going to be attacking first going into it. Wayne State's going to be defending. This is really close, one of the closest times I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was very exciting last play there as well. But Valpo able to get to all 3 points there. And we're heading into OT in game 2. This Wayne State team is looking much better than I think I anticipated and Valpo is ready for. So, I mean, these are some tight, close games, and that's exactly what you want to see as we kind of prepare for playoffs coming up. So, as we take a look at the team comps, get the Brig and the Juno for support.
Interesting.
Looks like the exact same comp, the Diva and then the Mei and the Soldier.
I'm not actually against this choice from Wayne State if they decide to go with it. This choice of a Torbjorn is very interesting, and to be honest, I never really see Torbjorns in NECC games. So this is going to be very interesting and a very interesting play from the side of Wayne State. Going to be here, most likely going to be using it as a spacing tool, but going to have to be pretty wise on the turret choices. Going to be looking for it, getting a nice hidden turret back here. So we'll see if Valpo's going to notice that fairly quickly. Going to be looking at Valpo's going to have to try and really attack, or either get picked off early, or going to be looking for that first thing. We're getting their first kill and going in. So we are going to be seeing them going in this way, going to be taking a little more of the defensive, but going to be seeing the turret, and the turret is going to be using it as a very good spacing tool. Wit is able to take, going towards that backline, going to be trying to take a more flanking angle with Atlas and Fusic. The whole team is going to be going there, going to try and take as much as you can, Wit having to back up. Going to have to go down for turret though. Turret going down, but neither team has lost anyone yet. So going to be going into this with a fairly close fight, but using Mei ults just to segment each other off. Wit taking down the Torbjorn, going to see where this goes. 10 seconds, and Valpo's going to have to stay on point now. Going to be going into overtime, and just going to have to stay and see what you got. Kirakuki going down, Atlas going down. Kirakuki is low. Wit is going to be at an extremely low place. Going to be taking Kirakuki going down as well. Going to have to take some Wit going down as well. Fusic and CQ9, only people left alive. Going to have to stay on point though. This is not going well. CQ9 is down. Fusic is only one on point. The overtime is going to be coming, but we're not going to have a touch.
Yeah, so best case scenario is going to be a draw for Valpo, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes, best case scenario, Valpo draws right here. Going to be going into it with a very interesting thing, and I think the Torbjorn actually worked really well in the defense there. Being able to just take them and force Valpo to take their time to see where their surroundings were and try and find the Torb turret was honestly a lot more effective than I was expecting it to be, but that's why it is a rare pick, because you're just not expecting it. You're not able to know how to counter it. So we're going to have to see what Valpo's going to choose. Going to be looking for a draw here. Going to have to hold for only a little bit over potentially. So we are seeing a similar team comp from Valpo going into it. We are not seeing the Torb return, and I don't blame them. We are seeing a Hanzo coming back out. We are seeing the Juno and Kiri coming back. And we are seeing the Brig. So going to be walking with a very interesting, keeping our normal thing, but we are going to be seeing a Rhine, and this is going to be interesting going into the Diva. Just going to be taking a little more of a trying to get some early calls, but the Moira is coming in play too, and I don't think that's a bad option for Wayne State right here. Going to be looking for any early pick, trying to get as much as you can, and just going to be trying to see what you can, but using Ryan's shield to be able to take the first micro missiles from Diva. So going to look through, they're going to know exactly where they're going, but they're TPing up, and they are going to be going for the supports. hightailing it for the supports, going to be able to get, will they get the Sim down? Sim is getting incredible value though, unable to really do much. Valpo forced to kind of get split up, but Wayne State is grouped together incredibly well. Wit is going to be going, Alice is incredibly low. That is going to be first one down for Valpo, not in Valpo's favor, of course. Fusic is incredibly low. Same thing with Wit. Going to have to be forced out, but Valpo, they are going to be looking for the supports. Fusic barely able to, and just barely not getting out. Going to have to, and that is going to Wayne State.
Wayne State able to take game 2 here. We'll be tied up 1-1 in the series as we do take a peek here at the play of the game.
Seeing the play of the game from Atlas on the Bastion, definitely understandable. Definitely had a few good options. Getting that amazing Kiriko play, getting that first thing. Did see this, and just being able to get out those early kills, and being able to force out the backwards momentum.
Yep. And that'll do it for game
momentum.
2, and we will be right back with game 3. And welcome back to Game 3 of Valpo versus Wayne State College. Heading to push map.
So currently Wayne State and Valpo are tied with 1 game each. Going to be going to Esperanza here. Not on the right app. Going to be going to Esperanza here. So interesting choice. Not interesting choice. Going to be a good option. Going to be trying to find the best choices for each character. Not sure exactly what we're looking at here for team composition, but we are seeing a sub with Like a Bus for Wit going into this next one. And we are seeing a little bit of a change. We are swapping off of the Brig for a Kiriko, as well as swapping onto a Genji from Like a Bus here going in. So fairly similar comps actually. Going to be running the same tank, support, and DPS. The only difference is the other DPS, one running an Ashe and the other one running and we are running a Reaper. So going to be going into it with a little bit of a different comp, so a little bit different goal right here. Valpo is still going to be looking for this Brawly style. Well, Wayne State is going to be going for a little more poke. Just still going to be looking for the same thing, but a little more poke with that Ashe going to be able to go through. Going to try and get this kill on the Juno early on, and that is going to be incredibly quick. Like a Bus going to be able to get the Juno, and just going to be able to just do stuff. Whispers going down, getting out of mech early, and going to be taken down. Like a Bus, Fusic, and Atlas all picking up different kills, and that is going to be first push for Valpo.
Yeah, great first team fight. Was able to find that early pick, and I mean, Like a Bus looking really good. Played in game 4 of our most previous varsity game and had a really good game. And has been performing really well, so excited to see him get a chance on a very exciting character too, Genji.
So we are going to be going into this. Fusic going to still be running the Siva, but Whispers swapping to counter it from Wayne State. Going to be going for the Zarya, so early swap is probably going to be beneficial to them in some way, but Fusic has been able to work around it, has shown his ability to just keep around and work around it, gain the Moira down, but that is going to be a trade, but 2 supports for a support and DPS, not impossible, especially with Kirakuki being on the Kiriko, so going to be able to take a little more healing and be able to heal a little bit more.
Yep, Valpo
So
was able to get to 50 meters here, but it looks like Wayne State is regaining control as we do get Baby Diva out here.
So we are going to be seeing Fusic very on his own, and they're going to be looking to stagger him as much as possible. Kirakuki is probably going to be leaving, not going to be able to get out. Moira is going to be chasing him down, and that is going to be a huge stagger for Wayne State. In favor of Wayne State for Fusic, getting him basically staggered right after all of the team has come back, and we are seeing a Doomfist come out from the side of Valpo. So Fusic's Doomfist is something we haven't really seen a lot going into it. So normally you see it just for touch, but going to be trying to pull more of this tank swap watch kind of game, but going to be playing a little more separated, just like he is with the Diva. Going to be looking for different swaps, going to be trying to get as much as you can, and we are going to be seeing Atlas also going to be taking a little bit of flank, but going down first, unfortunate. Going to have to back up just a little bit. Fusic going to still be taking the front line, still going to be trying to, but unfortunately, the Zarya is going to get off that bubble and just going to be taking down Kirakuki with them, and that is forcing Valpo, Fusic, Like a Bus, and CQ9 to back up on their characters. And Wayne State is still going to be getting a lot of value out. Atlas is still back now, but going to be forced to take in, getting a lot of advantage on that, but Fusic is incredibly low, getting that, but the Deadeye coming out from Wayne State, looking to really hold this, and Atlas, both DPS going down first for Valpo, going to be a huge pick from for Wayne State, but Valpo is going to get them faster than they are going to get their other support. But keep in mind that Juno is still going to do a lot. Fusic in a very rough position, getting walled off, barely able to get a lot of health back, but going to be able to use this ult to get this back. Going to be going into the middle of the blizzard though, going to escape it. Not going to see much, but Mei is going to be going down for the side of Wayne State. Their Moira is back, but going to be still looking for interesting things as Atlas does fall as well. Wayne State is forced to continue to do touch. Fusic almost going down there, barely being able to be saved, and just going to have to be taking this, letting Wayne State get a lot more of a touch in, and just going to have to try and look for as much as they can. Kirakuki and CQ9 trying to keep him up as much as they can. The Fusic is going in a little too deep sometimes, unable to really help and just trying to keep them off as much as they can. Valpo and Wayne State are going into this probably 5v5 right now, I believe. So we are going to be seeing one going down, though. We are going to be seeing a Nano and a Bob going in. Going to be seeing a fair amount of this already at high charge, though. But that is going to be looking like a team kill for Valpo. And Fusic is going to be swapping off of the Doomfist, too.
Yeah, did need a team fight. Went really bad there as Wayne State's already at 134 meters. But Valpo, halfway through this game, was able to get a team fight, and they are going to be pushing this spot back.
But unfortunate, like a bus falling incredibly quickly going into this, going to be taken out almost near immediately, going to be even taken out before Sigma can come back. Fusic on the Sig now. Going to be a good choice, but going to be difficult. Going to get that reposing kill, though, in return, but Zarya is going to be able to still do a lot just because of her Ray and not being able to be eaten by the Absorb. But that is taking down a Lucio and going to take down the Juno next, going to get the kill, and Valpo needed that desperately. Even though going into 4v5, still able to take a fair amount of work.
Yeah, some great aim, great rocks by Fusic there too. But yeah, I mean, gonna have to win a couple team fights to regain this lead, and they got 4 minutes left here, so we'll see what they're able to do. Was able to get the checkpoint for the closer respawn.
So getting checkpoint for closer respawn for the next person who falls. Going to be interesting, trying to see who's going to fall first, though. That each team is going to be looking for their first pick, and just going to be looking for that to continue to rush in on. Valpo going to be looking a little bit more in bad position. Sig no longer really having a thing, but Atlas getting a huge ult right there. Going to be going in for it, getting this Zarya as well. Going to be able to just get a lot of space with that ult. But keep in mind, going into the ult economy, we are seeing only Valpo with 2 and Wayne State with 4. Going into it, Like a Bus is almost halfway, so looking at 2.5 for Valpo and 4 for Wayne State. And they are going to back up to avoid the able to be used, but there is going to be a beat from the Lucio, and Like a Bus is going to be following. There is not going to be a lot that they can do. Kirakuki is forced to go down. Valpo, CQ9 still trying to keep Sigma alive, but going to have to go down as well. And that is a team kill on the side of Valpo.
Yep, Wayne State using 3 of those ultimates there, going to have that Cassidy ultimate left. Sigma using his for the side of Valpo. Kirakuki still having the gates, but kind of just...
Valpo barely getting a team kill there. Going to be getting a fair amount, and just having to use 1, though, for 2, though. Giving Wayne State still... But Wayne State does still have the ult advantage going into it with only Kirakuki, as Like a Bus is going to swap again, but taking both supports down in return. Going to look for the cast ult, though. Not going to see it being used just yet. Going to be looking for it. Blue Rock going down. Cass is forced to pull to help, and Zarya is just going to try and escape.
Yep, so 2 minutes left here. Valpo still has 50 meters to get back here. Gotta play close to flawlessly here if they want to come away with a win in this one, because not only do they have to get the bot 50 meters, but also all the way back to the barricade.
So going to have to get it back to the barricade and going to have to just get a little bit past that, but we are seeing a little bit of a flank from the cast right here. Going to be trying to find an early kill on the Juno, but unable to get it, but are going to be going for a different location. That this is going to be a huge looking ult for Wayne State, going to be able to cause a lot of separation, and unfortunately going to be creating a lot of work, but this is going to kill multiple people on Fusic getting the 4K.
Huge ult, getting the 4K, huge play just when Valpo needed it. And they got a minute 20 left. No ultimates available for either team, and Valpo actually up an ult economy without even having an ultimate, which is kind of crazy. They do have 2 that are close, but Wayne State
Yes. Valpo is
below
close.
50 on a lot.
Valpo is close on 2 ults right here. Going to be looking at it. However, keep in mind, Wayne State does have Frey, which can counteract both of the DPS ults a lot if used properly. So going to be looking for these ults, going to be looking for them, and just going to try and do as much as they can.
50 seconds left here. Valpo probably needs to win this fight if they want to have a chance at winning this game.
Blue Rex going to be taking down 2, going to be taking a lot of damage, and just going to be, but that is a late Ray, unfortunately, for the side of Wayne State, going to be able to, and both of the DPS are going to get the kills and going to get them out of there without any sort of thing. And there goes the cast, and Valpo is currently going to be up. Moira going to have to try and escape, but Moira is definitely not going to.
They have 3 ults available.
They have We have the Kitsune coming out first, going to be using this as a spacing ult, going to need it. They're going to need it for this one, hoping to get this ult dump, and just going to be trying to use it as much as possible. Going to have to continue to touch here, though. Going to be very close going into it, looking for the touch, going to have to be down, going to have to go, but he's going to get pinned, and that is going to be both DPS down. Fusic trying to use that ult, but only supports are left. This is going to be try and find as much as you can, but both supports going down, and Wayne State is going to take this game as well.
Wow, Valpo looked like they were in a great position on that one, but just wasn't able to come away with it. Man.
So we are going to be seeing that was quite a close game. Oh my god, I can't change the score. There it is. I got it. So going to be taking that very close score, going to be looking for Wayne State being able to, but we have to acknowledge Fusic's play of the game that we caught live.
Yeah, I mean, that was crazy. 4K and the 2-man ult. But Valpo unfortunately ended up losing the game, and we'll be down 2-1 in this best of 5, but we're going to take a short break and be back here for game 4.
Yep. All right, and we are back. We are going into Flashpoint today. Going to be the preferred choice of Valpo most of the time. Preferred choice of most teams. So we are seeing a little bit of the swap. We are going to be sticking the Orisa here going into it. We are seeing we're seeing the Brig come back out again. I'd also like to acknowledge the Wit is back in. Going to be replacing Like a Bus from that last game. Great showing. Just going to be playing different people. Going to try and get as much possible momentum for this next one.
Yep. Is going to have the Venture coming out for Atlas, so that'll be interesting. And then Kirakuki back on the Brig.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, also going to have a Brig from Wayne State, so do not see Brig too often, but other than Kirakuki, so...
Brig is really great. Brig, surprised them they don't have to take a lot more Brig plays, but we are going to be taking this place on point. Most of the time teams are going to actually meet up right in the middle, so interesting decision going to the right, but not a bad one for Wayne State. Going to be able to give them a better range, going to be able to go into it, but Fusic is getting incredibly low. Atlas says as two, both are going to have to be living on a prayer and just going to have to just try and do as much as they can. But Kirakuki going down, taking a DPS with, though Atlas takes a DPS with, but CQ9 just can't keep them alive. Tank is going down too, but Atlas is going to fall as well. CQ9 and Wit were the only ones left, and CQ9 is just going to have to try and do something, but unfortunately getting that stagger. That's what Wayne State wanted, and that's what they got. Staggering the main healer, granted, CQ9 can get back incredibly fast, but going to be a lot. Main thing going for is just getting some ult charge for that. So Valpo is going to have to be going in fairly quickly. Granted, can't be back, but going in and taking down first shot, going to be lost for that first fight, going to take a lot of problems, going to just have to back up and try, but the Brig going in, going to have to try and find this, but does find the Brig kill, which is going to do a lot. Going to be taking it in, going to be trying to use as much as you can. This is a very big thing because of DPS for it, but that is going to be a spacing noon, going to be looking for, going to be trying to find it, but Alice is going to go down as well, getting that bomb going down, but Wit is going to take down another support, so they're going to be down supports, but Wit is going to fall as well. Going to be back, just going to be trying to take it, going to get the Ray, but that is going to be a massive freeze, going to be getting every single person except Kirakuki, who is going to be taken down last. Valpo getting a little bit of percentage, but it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, that was a huge mail, and unfortunately Atlas will get staggered here at the end as well.
Yep.
So losing the first point in this best of 5 flash point. Valpo going to have the Reaper and the Venture ultimate, and then Wayne State going to have both support ultimates heading into the second point here at Flashpoint.
So going to be looking at a fair amount of support things. But the unfortunate thing is using that Ray was a good time, just tried to win the fight, tried to secure it, and just didn't. So wasn't able to get a lot of anything going on. But Atlas is heavily separated, going to be able to escape. Wit is too, but going to be able to escape with the help. But that is a massive stun from the Ray, and that is going to be Atlas managing to get a double kill already. Going to be trying to get anything they can. Fusic going to be moving back to point, but Kirakuki able to take down the Diva, and they are going to cap point after, going to get a little bit of thing, and that is going to be a nice stagger for Valpo though on the Juno.
Yeah, so Valpo able to get control of the second point here. Did lose it briefly, but all that matters is that they did win the fight. And only really need 1 or 2 good or more team fights to really win the point here, which is the interesting thing about Flashpoint versus Control Point.
So we are actually looking at just 2 good control point maps. We are seeing a huge tank swap, and this is going to be a spacing Noon coming out. Not going to get anyone, but just doing enough. But the Ana is going to fall for the side of Wayne State. Going to have to be taken, and Wayne State is going to be allowed point to get point, but going to be using this to try and get as much as you can. Getting that back, and Fusic taking down the tank, the order, and both of the supports going down, but Kirakuki and Atlas also falling. Unfortunately able to keep just a fair bit and getting the Lucio to touch, but not able to actually do much. There is going to be at least 1 more team fight going in, and most likely the team that wins this next fight is going to be the winning side. Fusic does have, almost has Grav, and CQ9 does have Array, so going to be seeing most likely both of those this next fight, just to try and secure this point. Going to getting a nice wall, getting this Ray in for it, going to try and be looking for anything they can, but Fusic is getting really kind of pushed off point here, not really able to go in, but the Lucio is going to go down fairly quick, and that is a nice grab from the side of Fusic, going to be able to take it, and that is going to be a first easy kill, going to be taking a fair amount of damage, Cass rolling off, going to still be killed, and Valpo is going to take this point back.
Yeah, so Valpo going to get their first point, be tied up 1-1, and will be first to 3 points here. This is an interesting movement mechanic by Zarya. I have never seen that before.
This is how Zarya gets around places. I use it, everyone uses it pretty much. I think the only person I haven't seen use it is some of the academy players. So going to be interesting going for this. Going for a more flanky round. See if this pays off. Going to find and catch off the Mei off guard, but going to be in a good place. But this going to be, and Fusic is without bubbles right here. Going to be at half health and in a risky position. And going to be trying to look for this, but getting this nice wall on the Rhine. Unfortunately, not able to really do much with it, and they are going to be able to take the point first. Wayne State is going to take point first. Keep in mind, they do have 3 ults coming up going on. Valpo only has 2. Getting another Ray fast, though, going to potentially have it. Going to get a nice freeze going onto it, but keep in mind that is going to be Atlas taking a lot of damage. Wit taking the blizzard, but also getting shattered. Going to be a huge loss for an ult for Valpo, and not going to have anything to fall on back for it. Fusic trying to take as much as they can, but they're just going to be taking a lot of this play, and that is going to be a rave of. And that is Fusic down. Fusic is not going to be surviving that, and it's just the support's going to try and escape. And that Wayne State is going to take a lot of percentage. This is in massive, but CQ9 is getting massively staggered, and Kirakuki as well. Going into this, ult economy is not looking good for Valpo going into it. Kirakuki only has his ult, so that is a single brig rally going in for Valpo, and they're going to have to trudge probably potentially without their support going into it. So looking at this, going to be interesting, going to be trying to just find a way to use that rally, but you're going to have to touch soon, and they're just using anything they can, but this is not going to be, it's barely going to touch. This is barely going to touch. There is going to be a lot of work trying to get in, getting the rally on. This is pretty much going to be a team fight, just going to be trying to keep Valpo off the point as much as they can. But Valpo, Fusic taking lots of damage, and Fusic is going to go down, and that is going to be a shatter. Wit able to remain on point just barely, but going to have, and Wayne State takes that another point.
Yeah, so Valpo, you know, or Wayne State on match point here only needed one more point to win this entire series. So Valpo, you know, from here on out have to play flawlessly.
And this is going to be the decider for Wayne. This is going to be the decider for Valpo on playoff status. Going to be in a very interesting place, as actually 3 teams are currently tied at a win rate right now. So going to be interesting for Valpo. Going to be looking for a lot of good plays, and just going to be trying to look and see what you got. Valpo is up in the alt economy right now, having 4 alts, going to be able to take a fair amount, going to be looking for this Reaper alt, getting a nice one. I should have stayed on that, oops. But going down in the process, but both supports are down. Valpo is able to take point first, but Fusic is incredibly low. Going to be able to get the Blizzard off though, and that is going to do a fair amount, but Fusic might not be able to stay on for long enough. Going to take a lot of damage. CQ9 is the only one left. Going to try and contest, but almost impossible, but uses that shatter to try and escape. Nobody going down to it though, which is really good for Valpo. Wasted shatter. But keep in mind, we are going in with a disadvantage now with alts. Only CQ9's Ray, but they have the Ray of their own and 2 other DPS alts going in, as well as another support alt coming up. Valpo is looking in a risky position with Whispers getting incredibly low. Going to be seeing this soldier alt as well. Going to make a fair amount. Valpo still able to take down 3. Going to be looking for this. Going to take down the Maid, just trying to get as much percentage as possible. And that is going to be another team kill for Valpo. We are looking at a nicer alt economy in Valpo's favor. So looking at around 3 alts potentially for Valpo, maybe 4 depending on how successful this goes. And this might be another team take for Valpo, but going to have to use these alts fairly decently. Looking at it, we are seeing... Oh, why was I saying 4? There's definitely 3 alts for Valpo's side here. Going to be looking for... trying to avoid being picked off early, Wit going incredibly low. We are seeing the rally coming out, but that is going to be a massive Blizzard going to get Fusic, and they are going to be trying to get as much as they can. Kirakuki falling down, CQ9 going to have to try and keep people up. Atlas going to be still alive, Wit is still alive. Wit and CQ9 are the only ones left on the play. This is not looking in Valpo's favor, and Wit is going to have to try to escape, but CQ9 is going to be taken down too. And that is a bit, I think that's a stagger for Wayne State, just barely for the side of CQ9 and Wit, just a few seconds apart, and that is going to be a massive game changer, going to be able to affect who gets there first, going to see exactly what happens. Minor staggers are always huge, and this is going to be looking like this is going to be a massive thing. Fusic going to be taken down, but Wit is going to go down, gets a massive shatter of his own, going to be able to take this, and just barely being able to take point with just the May left alive.
Yep, and still going to have Ray and Reaper ult for this last point of Flashpoint. So 2 big ultimates to help them secure the initial capture.
We are looking at a fairly decent ult economy for both teams right now. It's fairly even up, honestly. Both second supports are at a very decent percentage. Going to be seeing another Ray going into it. So this has been keeping up, but let's hope it's not the same pattern that's Valpo's been keeping for a while now. Getting that early ult early out of the way. Wit getting 3!
Big team kill there. Fusic cleaning up the last 2, and they were dropping like flies. And with the point unlocking, we will get the capture.
We do have to acknowledge, though, both teams traded 2 for that. So Valpo is going to be coming up on a shatter and a freeze. Both second supports are going to be sitting with these different alts, going to be looking for it. Valpo really needs to win this one, keep in mind, y'all. So going to be looking for it, trying to keep it spaced out, looking for that shatter. Oh, it gets walled! by his own team, gets walled, and this is going to be putting Fusick in a bad spot. Fusick is going to be taken down. Shatter is not going to be useful. If there is Wayne State's Shatter in return with Wit going down. Only supports and Atlas still alive, but Atlas is going to go down too. Kirakuki is CQ9 is the only one left live, but this is still in Valpo's favor right now as they do take 66% going into this next one.
Yep, taking a look at ult economy, we got Kirakuki's ult just came up, and pretty low on both teams. Looks about even.
It's relatively even, I'd say, so this is going to be putting them in a very interesting spot. This is mainly going to be a battle of just what DPS ults, and this is going to be a walled on Fusick, not going to be able to really help him going into it. Fusick falls, taking a support down with though, but Kirakuki falls as well. Valpo honestly might just have to back up here if they want a chance to recontest. This is going to be in a risky position. CQ9 Wit escaping, but Atlas might not. We're still going to be looking for that. Atlas choosing to fall off instead. Risky play. That is a huge stagger on Valpo. I'm not sure what we're going to be looking for, what we're going to be expecting here. Fusick going to have to be touching right away, though. We are going to be seeing a Ray from Valpo, but keep in mind, that is a huge shatter. Getting that Deadeye, Fusick going down, with going to be able to take down two, going to be looking for anything, going to be taking down. This is going to mean that there is going to probably be at least one more fight left in the game, but Wayne State is going to have a... Rain State is going to have a Ray, and Valpo is going to have a freeze. This is coming down to the wire, people. Going to be looking for this, and this is going to be massive. Both of these ults are huge, but Wayne State is also coming up on a ice, so keep a lookout for that. Going to be looking for it. Wayne State is going to have to touch here, though, and they're going to use Ray to do so. Going to use that, and Valpo takes the point!
They didn't get the touch in. And we're going to be heading to a game 5, and I'm not sure which is going to be played the game. I feel like we almost like glossed over the Wit 4K there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be, yeah.
There was a lot of plays right here on this point, especially getting massive shatters, being able to take down, messing up the wall just slightly, unable to save himself, and going to have to take down a few others.
Well, that is going to do it for Game 4. We are tied up 2-2, and we are going to be headed into a Game 5. So we will be right back in just a minute.
So we're back here, going to Game 5, going to Game 5 here. Valpo going to be able to take it back with that Flashpoint game. So we are going to be taking it to Rialto, which can be an interesting map. Going to be seeing a very different pick, though, from Wayne State. Going for a Ramatra and a Widow, going double sniper, going the Juno, and getting the Brig as well. So going to be seeing interesting choices going for it. Going to still see the same Valpo comp that we've been running with, but we are going to probably be seeing a Widow coming up over here about. Hang on.
Yeah, and man, was
Oh
that,
no, Widow is holding back.
that
Interesting.
was quite an exciting game for on Flashpoint, and Valpo staying alive, not only in this series but on their season. So Game 5, here we go.
Going to be staying alive, but finding the Widow very quickly, shielding themselves fairly quickly. Going to be trying to look for this, and Ramatra going to be getting a fair amount. Music going to be forced to back up going into this. Atlas and Wit going to have to back up, going to try and get this Widow, trying to do as much as they can, but right now it's going to be in Widow taking down Wit. It's going to be an early pick. Just going to be trying to find that and trying to get another pick soon, preferably on the Widow, but going to be looking for the Ashe, but that's not going to do it. TQ9 going to finish that off, going to be working on it. Kirakuki going to be able to take down the Widow, but going to be forced onto point. Fusic is going to be getting incredibly low, barely living right here. Going to just be trying to get a little bit of things, and Wayne State is forced to back off. Wit and Atlas are back, so going to be able to, and Widow going down. So that's going to be a first one going for Valpo, but the Ramatra is coming quickly onto Fusic, going to be able to take a fair amount of distance and just going to be able to try and get as much of that work as they can. Going to have to use a lot of DM, getting the Brig fairly low, but Fusic is about half, so not putting themselves in a great spot, but still able to hold, which is good.
Yeah, Moose was getting found 2 early picks in that fight, so Valpo had to back up, give up a decent amount of space, but luckily Fusic was able to chase down that Widow and find a kill.
So we are seeing an early Ray coming out from the side of Valpo yet again, very popular, but Fusic is going to be separated from them. Moose is going to go down, though, going to be able to take down that Widow that has been able to get Wayne State a fair amount of distance already. So just going to be able to just do whatever they can. Going to be running the Diva again, not Ramatra, and also running a Genji as well. Interesting choice to pop Visor, especially with the Ray going in. Going to be healing them pretty much almost entirely and not going to be able to really take as much, but Atlas able to get a nice Blossom off, going to be taking it in the back line, but Fusic might be died for it, but still has also going to be able to use it, going to try and look for that remech, but doesn't find it. Valpo is forced to use a fair amount of ult. Nope, that's not a Valpo. That is a Valpo. And forced to try and do anything but staggering the Mei. Staggering out the Mei just to finish it off. Genji is going to be looking there, sitting at a fairly high position, going to be trying to find anything of value, looking for a good, decent space, just trying to do anything. Going to look for, and Wayne State is in a rough position, unable to make it to first checkpoint. So going to be leaving Valpo a lot of room to be able to move forward, and just going to be allowed to keep as much distance as they can. So this is going to be a pretty good hold, and if Valpo can take this, we are looking at a short game coming in. We are seeing a potential another Ray, but Atlas is going to go down first fight and force to back up just a little bit, but they are going to be seeing a Blizzard coming out from Wayne State. That is going to be a Ray, but Blizzard is eaten. Valpo does have a chance to take this before the first one. This is last fight for sure. Wit going to be going down. Kirakuki being able to take this. Fusic going to be taking two in the back. Kirakuki as well. Atlas is back in time though, so don't worry. We are going to be able to keeping Fusic alive. This might be game for Wayne State for this one, and they're going to have to hold close if they want to win. And Valpo is guaranteed going to have a nice easy push.
Huge.
That's huge for Valpo taking that, and they're just going to need win about 2 or 3 team fights. Not impossible for Wayne State, but very difficult going into it. So going to be a tough fight for Valpo, or it might be an easy fight for Valpo, but a tough fight for Wayne State. They are working at a severe disadvantage going into it, so going to have to try and find something to balance it off of.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great defense. I mean, game 5, Valpo stepping up on defense, but still got some work to do on attack here. Just need a couple good plays, couple team fight wins, and that's really all they need to secure this series.
Ready for battle.
So going to be taking it, looking at Valpo running same team comp, so probably going to be trying to run it down very quickly. However, keep in mind, Wayne State is seeming to mirror this team comp, but instead of the Brig, we are throwing in a Kiri. So going to be interesting, going for a more higher healing output, but still going to be able to do a fair amount. This is going to be interesting for the side of Valpo, going to have to try and fight the mirror match pretty much. Just a little more healing, but honestly, Valpo might be able to take the mirror match if Kirakuki decides to try and take that. So, might be in a better place for Valpo, but we'll see. Going to be interesting going into it. Remember, only need to really win 2 team fights, and Valpo will probably take game 5.
Yep, they got 4 minutes to do it. 4 minutes to get 90 meters, so. See this initial fight, Valpo just getting some distance here. Only difference in these comps are the Brig for the Kiriko, so interesting to see the exact same comps, and they are almost halfway there already, but at some point gonna have to win a team fight with Diva dropping a bit low.
But Wit is going to go down first, so going to be putting Valpo in a rough spot, at RA losing one of them, but CQ9 going to be trying to play back far, so take a little bit. Wit is going to be coming back sooner though, so Atlas is going to be trying to keep it safe, trying to keep it down, just need one play, but Kirakuki is going to go down. Atlas is going to go for a flank though, going to have to be splitting CQ9's attention a little bit, so potentially going to be a risky play. Kirakuki does get the close spawn, so going to be looking for it. Should be interesting. We are going to be seeing a Ray, but both sides are going to be seeing Rays fairly quickly going into it. And we are going to be seeing, however, Whispers does have a sooner access to a bomb than Valpo, so going to be interesting. So we are seeing the Ray, and we are going to see a counter Ray from Wayne State, but they are able to take out the Juno before. So Valpo being put in a nice advantage position, going to have a lot of chance to look for it, going to be taking down the Kiri, going to be looking for it, but Valpo is going to be forced to back up as Wayne State is just being able to help heal faster. Atlas is down, Fusic is forced to back up, and Valpo has been in a very risky position. Even though they got the first kill on the Juno, not able much, but Wit trying to get that kill on the Juno, but being forced out because of the Reaper, and that is going to be Wit down too, going to be spread out like a lot. With Atlas going to be forced to back up, Fusic forced to back up, but Valpo does have 4 ults here. Wayne State only having 3, going to put them in a good position. Going to be looking for that. The Kiriko is kind of stuck up top, going to be looking for it. Just going to try and get it, but Kiriko is going to go down first, going to take down the DPS. This is going to be a good spot, but Valpo is going to have a Blossom in their face, but that is going to be a bomb, going to probably take down a massive chunk of Fusic's health, going to take down the Diva, but there is a minute and 20 seconds left. Wayne State can still touch and might still do it. This is risky.
It is a Diva bomb and a Reaper ult though, so going to be very tough when they're going to be forced to touch here.
They are going to be forced to touch, and they are going to do so soon. But that is going to be Atlas going down, taking the Juno with though, going to be in a nice place. But that is going to be a huge one, going to be taking down the mech, and this might be game for it. Valpo going to still have the Devo bomb, and just going to be able to keep that up, and Valpo is going to win.
Man, they're able to do it. I mean, they backs against the wall in game 4 on Flashpoint and really picked it up, and we're able to finish strong with a win, and we will see Kirakuki on the brig for the play of the game.
Yep, Kirakuki on the brig, being able to take this and showing that they can, saving themselves against this, and this is what helped turn the fight and helped keep them in the game, going to be able to stay alive and just be able to try and keep them off from capping point there.
Yep, well, that will do it for our games tonight. We have no games tomorrow, and tune in for NECC playoffs next week. We got Rocket League, this Varsity Overwatch team, and then I believe, yes, the League of Legends team as well, and then we have Great Lakes Esports Conference next weekend as well. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Great game here tonight, and we will see you guys next time.
Yep, that's it for us.